Assalamu alaikum, beautiful people. Here I am again with a new lecture, brand new lecture for my beautiful students of class 11. Subject is general English. Topic is the money and the none. This topic is about environment. It is the eighth chapter of your textbook, and my today's lecture has nine components, and those nine components are here. Some facts about our environment. Why do species extinct? Big problems, big environmental problems. Life of the writers. The lesson has been written by two writers, so that is my life of the writers. Title of the chapter, main ideas, summary of the chapter, themes, glossary, textual questions. First component is some facts about our environment. So the lesson is about environment. We need to know basics of our environment. So a census by Hawaiian University, according to that census, they say 8.7 million species. There are estimated 8.7 million species on Earth, but only 1.3 million species have been identified so far. It is also said that more than 99% of all species that ever lived on Earth are estimated to be extinct. Means a large portion of these different species have already died. Data may vary. You can consult other books. You may find other figures there. The data may vary, but it is a fact that there are lots of and thousands and lakhs of species on the planet. And as far as India is concerned, there are 45,000 species of plants and 91,000 species of animals in India. But the bad news is that over 200 species extinct every year from the planet. And this is the, you can say, issue of concern here. This is what we have to dwell on, think on, that why species die. And they say over 200 species die every year. We human beings have to do something for it. And if species keep on dying, that means life on this planet will end one day. Like coronavirus, if it is not stopped, it will finish all of us within years, within less than 2 years. And food chain is a term you need to know it. Since we are reading about environment, you need to know what food chain is. A food chain is a chain of organisms which eat one another for survival. A simple example of food chain is that sunlight, say sunlight makes grass grow. Grass is eaten by sheep. Sheep is eaten by man. And if something happens to sheep or grass, man will die automatically. That is what this food chain is all about. Second component of the lecture is why do species extinct, and there are several reasons. Main reason is due to climate change, competition with other species, scarcity of food and water, deadly diseases. Sometimes deadly diseases attack species and kill them. Again, corona kills human beings, kills us. If it is not stopped, we all will die. And there is this component number 3, big environmental problems. And there are different environmental problems, various environmental problems, but I have chosen you can say around 9 to 10 environmental problems for you people here. First is climate change. Climate change is a big environmental problem. What does it mean? Rise of global temperature, melting of glaciers, droughts, wildfires, desertification of productive land, loss of soil nutrition. Now, example of saffron land. Pure is back. We used to have here a huge harvest of saffron, but now over a few years it is decreasing. Maybe after 2-3 years it will end completely. Second environmental problem is ecosystems and endangered species. So endangered species, we don't have to let species die, because if they die, we will also die. They may die today, we may die tomorrow, but our life is dependent on them. We don't have to let them die. It is again a problem, environmental problem. Third environmental problem is deforestation, because it causes droughts. It destroys homes for species. No rain, Also it affects rain, it affects climate change. And sometimes you hear a lion was found in some village, a lion was found in some town, a tiger attacked some killed in some market. It is because we human beings, by doing this deforestation, have destroyed homes of these animals in the forests, and that is why they come to our villages and towns to kill us. We are responsible. Next problem is pollution. There are different pollutions: air pollution, soil pollution, noise, water pollution. Next problem is water scarcity, dearth of water, shortage of water. Only 3% of water on the planet is drinkable, 97% is undrinkable. Yes, 97% is undrinkable, and there are some places in the world where there is no water to drink at all. Loss of biodiversity, again, species die daily. Loss of biodiversity, the biodiversity is dying. We have to do something. Overpopulation, more people, more problems. Less people, less problems. So again, an environmental problem. Next is waste disposal. A person generates 4.6 pounds of trash per day, and if he generates trash, he doesn't have to, or she doesn't have to leave that trash on roads, parks, here and there. We have to use trash cans, dustbins. Is good. Is a job of swab. Land management and urban sprawl. More construction and less land for cultivation. Obviously, when the number of people increases, they need more homes, and they have to use more land. And when more land is used for construction, less land remains available for this cultivation. And when there is less cultivation, there is less food, and there is less food, there are problems. Public health: unhealthy environment kills people. So we have to make our environment clean, we have to keep it clean, and we have to keep it healthy, otherwise we'll die. Life of the writers, fourth component. Writers, well, we don't have much to say about these two writers because they are not great writers, they are just environmentalists. Ashish Kothari is an environmentalist. He has studied at the University of Delhi. He's about 50 years old. He has been associated with people's movements like Narmada Bachao Andolan. Authored and co-authored a few books on India's environment, birds, and biodiversity. Bansuri Taneja is a friend of Ashish, and he is also an environmentalist. Title of the chapter. Title is very simple: the money and the none. The money, maybe 500-600 years back there were many species. At present there are less species. And the none, in future, after 50 years, 100 years, there will be no species. So a frightening title that perhaps life will end on this planet, all species will die, there will be none, no species at all. You can read here, pause the video and read more about this title. Next is main ideas and summary of the chapter. When the chapter begins, first of all, we are introduced to the term biodiversity. We are given its definition and examples. Definition is simple: the variety and variability of life on earth. Bio, life, diversity, variety, different forms of life that we see around us, that is called biodiversity. Then these two authors give examples of food and wood and colors of holy and genes to make us understand better what this biodiversity means. Next, they discuss charismatic animals. Charismatic means beautiful and powerful and attractive animals like tiger, rhino, and elephant. Third, they discuss big size and good looks. And some scientists, they use chemicals or they interfere with the genes of vegetables, fruits, and other say things to make them big in size, to make them brighter in looks. They do it, but they do not realize that they do it at the cost of the natural taste of those vegetables or fruits. Understand? So when the size of a vegetable is increased, it is her taste does not remain same. So again, they do more harm than good. So this point is explained in the chapter. Next, loss of biodiversity. As I said, loss of biodiversity, this point is also mentioned and rather discussed in the lesson. As I said, over 200 species die daily. But here, these two authors, they give us, you can say, a simile of the sheep losing nuts. They compare this earth with the ship losing nuts. Now, there is some ship, sea ship sailing on water, and this ship is losing nuts, one nut after another nut, and a time will come this ship will lose many of its nuts, and then it will sink into the water. Same is the case with our earth. If we lose a species after a species after a species, a time will come that life on this planet will end, life on this planet will fall, we all will die. So this beautiful example is given in this lesson. Next point is importance of biodiversity in India. Here in India, they say, these two writers say that biodiversity is very significant and very essential for Indian people. Why? Because India is a land of ecosystem people. Now, ecosystem people means people whose life is directly dependent on, you can say, agriculture and other things. Farmers, fisher folk, herders, hunter gatherers, etc., are directly dependent on biodiversity. They get fuel, food, fodder, housing material, medicine from diversity. So these people, they get these different things, or rather you can say basic necessities of their lives from biodiversity. And if biodiversity is weakened, or if it dies, or if it is interfered with, that means we are interfering with the lives of these ecosystem people of India. So biodiversity is safe, these different people are safe. Biodiversity is at risk, the life of these different people is at risk. And next point that is discussed in the lesson is actually these two writers, they quote Jagat Singh Chaudhary. And this Jagat Singh Chaudhary, he actually motivates us for afforestation, plant more trees, and he uses a list of trees that he wants us to plant in forests, to plant, say, at the places where land is available. Plant trees like Banj, Kafai, Ayar, Buranas, Rambanas, Buns, Ringle, etc. You can reread these words from the text. Next point is discussed, ignore the pieces of advice given by high-tech biotechnology scientists. So biotechnology scientists, they sometimes guide farmers. They come, you can say, to villages to talk to these farmers and tell them that they have to use modern techniques, modern methods of this cultivation and farming. And here we don't have to take them seriously, understand, because these people, they are after big size and good looks. They are not after natural variation, they are not after natural taste of things. They forget taste, and they forget the natural variation, natural capacity that these say plants, animals, birds, etc., fruits have. They do not worry about it. They want us to have vegetables of big size and shiny vegetables. And that is why these two authors, they tell readers in this lesson not to take the you can say suggestions of these biotechnology scientists seriously. Next point is maintain a balance between economic development and conservation of biodiverse life. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you have to save biodiversity, you have to preserve biodiversity. That doesn't mean you don't have to cut any tree, you don't have to eat any vegetable, you don't have to eat meat. And that is what these two writers say. No, no, you have to maintain a balance. Now, economic development, between economic development and preservation of biodiversity. If you want money, you can sell 100 trees, but at that place, at the place of those 100 trees, you can plant new 100 trees. you can plant new trees, maybe 100 trees, 200 trees, but you can plant new trees at the places where you have already cut down the trees. Likewise, these animals, if you want to kill some animals for meat, but at the same time you have to raise new animals. So it is simple that there should be a balance between economic development and conservation of biodiverse life. Understand, if you harm this say biodiversity, say from one side, and from other side you have to add to it, you have to plant more trees, you have to grow more plants and other things. Finally, this lesson ends with a quote by a Native American chief, Seattle. Seattle is his name, and he concludes, he summarizes the whole chapter in just one line. He says, "When all the eagles and fish are gone and the water is killed by pollution, only then will we realize that money cannot be eaten." So money cannot be eaten, it is literally also true. And he says, don't go after money. You need money, but do not become greedy. Do not kill every bird, do not sell every say vegetable, fruit, every life form. Do not sell all trees to increase your bank balance. He says money cannot be eaten. And he tells us again that we need to maintain a balance between economic development and conservation of biodiverse life. And then themes are very simple: preservation of all species. I think by now you people have understood it. Our responsibilities towards our environment, so we have to now, you can say, take responsibility of protecting, of preserving our environment. Understand, we have to know more and more about our environment, and we have to make people around us aware of the say same thing. Then a glossary, certain terms have been used. The first term is biodiversity. Already you know it. Variety of life. Flagship means most important species, a group of similar organisms. Biopiracy means patenting of species or stealing of species. Ecosystem is a community of organisms at a place. Genetic means of genes. Savor means to taste. Ecology means scientific study of environment. Environment means our surroundings. Aubergine means brinjal. Next you have textual questions. First question is biodiversity refers to, you know it, I will not repeat it. Question number 2 is, do you think it is good to have a variety of species? Give reason. Yeah, it is good to have variety of species, because different species, or rather all species, are interdependent and interlinked, because the survival of all species is interdependent and interlinked. If you want to note down these answers, you can pause the video. Next is biological diversity can be seen in the following areas. So here, in the genus of the various living creatures, in the different types of food and mangoes. You can pause video here also to note down all points. Next, question number 4 is, certain animals have been described as being charismatic. What does this mean? So charismatic animals, you already know. What does this mean? It means that they can attract, excite, and overawe people by their strength, power, size, and beauty. Fifth question is, they are used as flagship species for conservation programs. Who does they refer to? What is meant by flagship? What does this statement mean? So answer for this question is given here. They here refers to charismatic animals, and flagship again means most important animals who are used for the who are used for the these say programs, wildlife conservation programs launched now and then across the world. Question number 6 is, what do the writers mean when they say that vegetables are being doctored? Doctor means interfered with, their genes are being changed. Is it good to do so? No, it's not good to do so. We don't want size, we want the real taste, natural taste, and we want the survival of these different vegetables. Understand? Give reasons for your answer. You can pause video also here to note down this answer. Question 7 is, do you think the writer's comparison of the sheep losing nuts to the loss of biodiversity is apt? Why do they make this comparison? So I already discussed this comparison of the sheep losing nuts to the loss of biodiversity on the planet. You answer is given here. Question 8 is an objective on the text. Is simple. You can see it there in the text. Question 9 is, does the future of India's agriculture lie in high-tech biotechnology being promoted by agricultural scientists? Why not? No. It doesn't lie, say, in high-tech biotechnology. As I said, that majority of Indians are farmers or ecosystem people, and their life is directly dependent on biodiversity. Understand? And if biodiversity is interfered with, if it is destroyed by using faulty methods of science, then it will affect people directly. Question 10 is, how is the loss of biodiversity linked to the survival of the common people of that area? So again, simple, because survival of common people is dependent on biodiversity. What is biopiracy? How does it affect the country? Biopiracy, I said, the act of getting some of the traditional agricultural products patented for corporate gains. Understand? And it weakens the economy of a country. Well, how does it affect? It weakens the economy. Question 12 is, what is the message in the statement made by the American chief Seattle? So Seattle's quote, I just read it and explained it, that money cannot be eaten. Survival, preservation, and protection of biodiversity is important. So with this, we come to the end of the chapter. So God bless you, my students. You can wait for next lecture in which I will teach you next chapter.